to show up. All right. And we are live. Greetings, readers and travelers, and welcome to another episode of Stats on Stats, the first ever Silver Tongue episode. Our new show where we will be talking about promos for books, kind of like our basic setup for Boss Encounter and Bard's Tale, but where we just, promote the book, don't go into spoiler territory or anything like that. It's going to be a little bit shorter than our normal episodes, but that's 100% okay. Today's topic is First Fist by TJ Reynolds. And I'm excited because this book is really off to a wild start, and I'm only like 2 chapters in. I think I'm actually at the end of chapter 2 right now, and it's already a great time. But joining me today for the first time ever, and the author of the book we are talking about, Mr. TJ Reynolds. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good, man. I'm glad you caught up to chapter 2. It's a good fight scene, yeah?
It is. I was in the middle of another book when the book dropped on audio yesterday, so I was trying to finish that to get ready for today. And then at work today, everyone was calling me. Everyone was wanting to talk to me. So I was just like, oh, guys, please just go away. Both headphones are in. Leave me alone. That didn't work. And joining us again for the second time, the one who helped us come up with the name Bard's Tale for our audiobook narrator episodes, Daniel Wesniewski. I didn't mess it up that time, did I? Did I? I did.
Wisniewski. You don't know Wes. I was so close. I was like,
damn it.
I thought I just learned something. I'm like, oh, Wesniewski.
No, you didn't.
I did it last time too.
You learned he can't pronounce names.
I'm very bad at names.
Which is funny because I say it at the end and beginning of every audiobook that you've listened to of mine. And I don't think I say it wrong.
You assume I listen to the credits.
It's actually pronounced Smith. Just all the letters are silent.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, how we doing today?
We're grand. We are just fine, sir. Happy to be back.
And of course, joining us for the very first time, a name I'm hoping I don't butcher, Miss Rebecca Woods.
Hello. And that was perfect.
All right. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited to be here. It's a nice chill evening, and I get to talk about what I love doing. So,
well, and that's one thing we absolutely love, because I went through a little bit of my catalog last time we had Dan on, and just was like, oh yeah, these are the books I have by him that he's done. So I guess I got to do that for you as well. I apologize because I mentioned some of these, and Dan over there was like, ooh, that's a deep cut. So here we go. These are the ones in my library. I'll save that one. I'll save those 2 for last. So I have Gladiator and Adventurer by David Burke, who you teamed up with Dan over here.
I did.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of,
It's going to be a lot of and Dan.
And then here we'll go ahead and go another one, and Dan. Monster Girl in My Closet, book 1 and 2 by Jamie Hawk. Evil Genius 1 and 2 by Logan Jacobs that you are featured on.
I am.
Skullduggery as well. I think I pronounced that right. I have the first one of that. I haven't listened to that one yet because I got that on like a super sale and I was just kind of powering through everything. And then
that one's pronounced Wisniewski. That is pronounced
Wisniewski. Then Mephisto's Magic Online Omnibus by Mr. Christopher Johns, who is going to be our guest on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
And then, of course, First Fist, which is our topic for today.
Nice to hear.
So this is, like I said, the very first promotional episode where we kind of go through a little promo and talk about, like, hey, why should you buy this book? And I can already tell you, the writing is solid. The narration is perfect. I wouldn't change anything about it. I have no complaints. So, Mr. Reynolds, this one's for you. Tell us a little bit about First Fist.
It's like genre-wise, it's pretty center progression fantasy, but I kind of took an interesting way getting there. Maybe a risky way. I kind of begin a little bit close to just general epic fantasy, but there's like a loose stunted cultivation system basically it's been forgotten and repressed by other world powers. So when the main character eventually taps into something a little bit deeper, so we get like true cultivation and gamelit aspects at about 30% in.
Okay.
So and yeah, it's like a story about a soldier who's kind of suffered a little bit too much, and we see him just about like lose it all, and then because we believe in truth and heroes and honor and all that shit, he rises back and really kicks butt after. Yeah, like it's a slog for the first little bit because it's cultivation. I really wanted him to suffer, you know. He earns his place, and he gains cultivation, you know, by struggling to achieve it. It's not just handed to him.
All right. So for the, you know, target audience, who would you say this would be more directed to, or for people who are curious about this book?
I think it's like really solid for people who are like into Defiance of the Fall, all the way to like Iron Prince or Cradle. It's if you like long progression fantasy books that kick a lot of ass, but also have like a range of emotions. Like Iron Prince, I don't know if you guys have read it, but
I have.
they don't shirk away from like emotional growth or character arcs at all. It's not power fantasy. It's just a really deep novel. So
Yeah. That's the one
yeah,
by Luke Chimolenko
and
Bryce
O'Connor,
O'Connor.
yeah.
Yeah. Luke Daniels narrates that one, I believe. Which
He did.
shout out to Luke Daniels.
He does well.
He does well.
Another,
Yes.
another silver tongue.
I
Oh,
have,
yeah.
I have their other book. What is it? Gladiator or not Gladiator?
Another gladiator, but not that kind.
Not that other one. I can't remember what that one is.
You don't say cock once in that book.
Yeah, we're all really grown up right now. This is fantastic.
Well, it doesn't help that I'm slap happy as shit right now. So this is gonna be a fun episode.
We're rolling.
So, with the power, what made you decide to do a cultivation versus like a lit RPG or like dungeon core type book?
Well, I do like Dungeon Core. This just wasn't like the right story at all. I really love the way cultivation. I like the tropes and sort of the rhythm of those stories. It sounds weird. A lot of people like get their cultivation through like web novels and translations. I watched a lot of kung fu movies and anime, and it's the tropes are almost identical. It's very similar, especially the old school kung fu movies like Once Upon a Time in China, where there's just like these beats where like, oh, master's about to check pupil, and watch, pupil's gonna get brought the fuck down. So I enjoyed that aspect, but this one was cool because Luca became a partial master right away. He'd already suffered, right? He didn't need to be like whacked on the head with a cane. That was for like, you know, Po in Kung Fu Panda. That was a really classic kung fu film.
Damn, I love that. I love that trilogy. I'm just gonna say that.
But
are
so we
good
get
kung
a
fu
side
films.
character, yeah, we get a side character in First Fist that gets to be the pupil too. Well, yeah, Luca kind of gets to bridge the gap between divinity and like young scrub.
We love it. We actually did an episode earlier this year. I think it was our second episode of the year where we did anime tropes and like lit RPG and cultivation books and Dungeon Core. So like we talked, and then we pitched like, oh, this book would make a really good anime or something like that. And now that we're talking like, you know, kung fu movies, damn it, I want to watch. What was it? Oh God, what was that movie? It was a spoof. It was one of the spoof movies with Kung Fu Hustle and.
Oh yeah. Those creators are amazing. The Shaolin Soccer.
No, it wasn't Shaolin Soccer. Tongue of Fury. Kung Pao. Is it Kung Pao?
Kung Pao.
That's
Enter
the
the
one.
Enter the Fist. Yeah, Enter the Tongue.
You can't compare that to Kung Fu Hustle. One's a
No,
piece
the
of art.
Enter the Tongue. Or Tongue of Fury, or whichever one.
Is it the one that it's parody? Is it the movie that's
There's one
parodying?
Yeah, it's the parody
And
one.
then Kung Fu Hustle's a parody too, but it's like really high budget and like
Right.
kind of.
But that was the first one of that movie I actually saw because I studied Kung Fu growing up. And
you
it was
go.
actually around the time Kung Fu Panda came out. So,
Then you'll love this book. 'Cause
I'm already
there's a lot
loving
of
this book.
wonderful mixing
There are
of
many
martial
punches.
arts. So many punches, so many fists, and a first fist too. No, this would make a great anime. I was thinking that as I was reading it, there was a moment I was just narrating the middle of a battle scene. I think it was there's a not to get into spoil, but later on
go ahead,
in the book, around chapter 5, but it's first time they fight the Shuyanese,
Oh my god.
and it's a mixture of Western sort of spear and sword, spear and shield, really, sort of tactics versus this Eastern-based sort of Shaolin monk, magic. And it was so much fun to narrate that I just had to stop halfway through and just be like, I can see this so clearly, and I really want to see this in an anime format. Please and thank you, because it's just so good. The fighting in this book is so wonderfully crafted because every step. There's one chapter in this book. It's like 30 pages. Half of it is one battle.
Love it. I already love it.
The other half is the end of the battle. it's just all a massive fight scene, but it's so well done and broken up with the room to breathe that it does not feel like it's too much. It's just a wonderful balance. So kudos to you, TJ, for writing an excellent sort of structure with that.
Thank you. And those were two good places you pointed out. Especially that first one is like that's our inciting incident in a way. It's like a really fucking hard kick to the back.
Why do I feel like I'm going to be updating Dan as I go through this book?
Better. I will gladly hear it. I'll
Live
gladly
tweeting
listen.
your experiences.
Oh, well, so I'm reading this book because my ADHD brain functions so damn weird that I can listen to a book on Audible, but then when I'm not listening to a book, I can just pull out my Kindle and read a completely different book and know exactly where I'm at in that book versus where I'm at in the other book. And then when I go back to the other book, my brain is very weird. It's like a Ferrari with no brakes and processing power sometimes. Yeah,
At least you don't make mistakes.
What's that?
So at least you don't make mistakes.
Oh no, I do.
It's a small joke. Yeah. ADHD is a bitch, man. It makes you really creative and flashy, but then you're like, where the fuck am I? Where am I?
I am a mess. I've talked about this on a few episodes before. I have ADHD. I have dyslexia. I have a lot of other things going on in my head. I'm just like, oh god, I'm a mess. So yeah, I'm a mess. That's why I go off topic a lot. But
Back to the topic.
So let's go ahead because we haven't really heard from Rebecca as of the past few minutes. Who was one of your favorite characters to narrate?
You will not have come across her yet, but I've talked with TJ about this at length. I honestly, I'm very grateful that all of the women in this that I got to voice are very well written. But the one you hear from the most and therefore the most fun is I don't want to spoil too much either, but essentially
Drop her name. Go ahead.
it's Leshra, and she is kind of, rather than having a computer automated system for the lit RPG aspects, she's essentially a guide to Luca to be able to get through everything and learn some things. And she is batshit crazy, and it's amazing. And so therefore, 100%. I mean, not only in this book, but she's definitely one of my favorites in general I've ever done.
Oh, I can't wait to meet her. I'm very excited.
Oh yeah.
I know,
She's
like,
fun.
because I'm supposed to work at 4 a.m. tomorrow. It is currently 6 o'clock my time.
No.
I am going to
No.
be dead on my feet, but I'm going to be playing some Borderlands and listening to this instead of going to bed at a recent time.
Video games and audiobook combo is hot.
That's
It is
all I
hard
do.
to
It's a good
have
combo.
that level of stimulation. You're
Well,
just
and
like-
here's another thing. So I drive for Lyft. Like, I'm talking constantly. In under a year, I've done over 450 rides.
Wow.
And I listen to audiobooks while I drive.
It's a great idea.
And like a lot of people are like, "Ooh, what is this?" And then I'm like, "Oh, well, it's this book. It's by this author. It's narrated by these people. I love them to death." And that's how I'm like, I introduce people to lit RPG. I introduce people to game lit and cultivation. And I love doing that. And a lot of people are like, hey, can you write down the name of that like book for me, or like take a picture of your screen so I can have that? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So
That is so
it's
cool.
it's great to see. I find that like there's a bit of a renaissance going on with audio work. Partially because of the pandemic, because so many big name actors suddenly had nothing to do, so we have a plethora of podcasts and Audible Presents sort of productions. But it's never been a better time to get into it, because the actors involved, I find, are getting more into it. They're getting more energetic. They're getting more about the performance and really making the text come alive with the production, which makes it easier to listen to and gets people more into it. Like, oh, that sounds cool, or that sounds awesome, that sounds good. And I feel like this book really lends itself to that, because of the stuff I've worked on, this is one of the best just written. Like, not even just a fantasy book, it's just one of the best books. Like, it's up there with Battleborn. It's up there with the Infinita books with Chris Hopper. It's one of my favorites that I've done, and just one of my favorites that I've read. It was a beast to do, because 30 hours of audio. Thanks, TJ. But it's just, it needs it. It needs it, but it doesn't feel long. Like, it's exactly as long as it should be, which is rare with these kinds of things.
well, and
But it also,
I was telling TJ and Rebecca about this before we went live, that when you reached out to me, I was like, oh, what's that book? Like, I know I've seen the name and everything somewhere, because I'm in like 30 different lit RPG groups on Facebook. I'm in like the big ones at least. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this. Like, I have. And Joel's like, well, do you want to read it first? I was like, nah, I don't need to. I know we got some really talented people working on this. It's coming from a really good mind. We're doing this. So if that tells you guys not to, or like to definitely buy the book, definitely buy the book, because it's worth it. I was waiting for it to drop on Audible. Like, I was checking every day, because I asked Dan, I was like, when's it supposed to come out? And he goes, soon. I was like, that tells me nothing.
ACX tells me nothing, buddy. What can I say?
That's why we have to give these like flashy, showy, ambiguous answers to make it seem
Yes.
like we're being mysterious, when in actuality we're frantically typing ACX going, where is it?
Because I have so many books I'm waiting on, and I know one of them's supposed to come out next month, Dan.
And Rebecca.
Oh, me
Wait,
too.
wait. And that,
Oh, did you not know that she's working on Tokens and Towers
no,
as well?
Harmon didn't tell me. And I just talked to him today.
Guys.
It's been a wonderful few months for working on lit RPG stuff. And I remember, because I had the similar conversation, TJ, with you and Harmon in regards to release dates, because we're also trying to, we wanted it to come out before Who Fights with Monsters, because,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
Yee. And I think that to its benefit, it's come out like a few weeks before, because I just checked the numbers again. We're still in the top 500s on the sales rankings, y'all. It's like at 406,
Well,
which is
Yeah.
awesome.
you guys were at 326 earlier this morning, right? Or
Yes,
yesterday?
peak of 326, and it dropped yesterday. So that is solid.
Come on, guys, let's get those numbers up. We gotta go read this book. Like, I'm telling you, like, I'm only 56 minutes in and I'm enjoying it. I listened to it in the car on my way to pick someone up, and one of the characters said, fuck, and I was like, ooh, I'm glad I don't have a passenger in the car right now, because I work in a college town, and like, people sometimes get upset.
But it's a Cockney accent or a British accent, so they're potentially
Oh.
white.
Oh, I listened to Gladiator in the car.
Have you listened to any Atlas Kane in the car?
I listened to
Towers of Akali. You'll love it.
I
You'll love
listened
it.
to
But we-
Monster Girl in my closet for a little bit between rides.
My dude, let me tell you, when the three of us, you could trust the three of us to tell you that Towers of Acalia would be an excellent series for you. 'Cause if
Absolutely.
you like First Fist, you'll like this one.
See, I know where Towers of Acalia goes because it's on my wish list, the complete series. So,
Yeah, but
I'm not
the
that
writing's
brave.
really good.
Oh,
the writing's
I'm
really
gonna get
good.
it. I just don't know if that's one I can listen to in the car. Like that's one I'll listen to at work, and I'm hoping
There's only a couple, only a couple scenes you can. Yeah.
Subdued.
That one's
Fair,
pretty. It honestly is. It's more like just classic light novel anime. But
okay
then
with that.
yeah, there's
But,
a few scenes.
We can talk about that later because our main topic is
Yeah.
First Fist. I got to work on that, getting that everything back in. So, Dan, we heard from
Yes, sir.
Rebecca. Let's hear from you. Who's one of your favorite characters to voice?
Oh, obviously Luca.
Okay.
The MC there. But there's two. I have two that I love voicing in this book. Luca and his apprentice, Bodibert. And I won't focus too much on Bodibert just because, you know, he's in it later. I want that to be more of a fun surprise. He's a fun character. But, you know, he's a sidekick done right. He's a Robin done right. It's fun. He's trying. He tries his best, and that is good enough. And that is always, you know, wonderful to see. But Luca, I find fascinating. I think he's one of the best characters, and you're going to hear this again with me. With this book, everything is like one of the best. ... It truly is. I remember TJ. When was it you approached me about this? Like you booked this out like a good 6 months in advance, I think.
Yeah, and then I missed all the initial deadlines.
And then I got COVID, and then we pushed it back again.
Yeah. But it was perfect timing all in all, right? We're fine.
Oh my god, yeah, it worked out perfectly. But like, I recorded the first 2 chapters with COVID, and I listened to it. It sounded like garbage, and so I redid it, and I'm like, okay, now I'm in it. I'm in the understanding. But the main thing I wanted to get right was this man's voice, because he's not exactly the most out there MC. He's not a very, you know, flashy personality. He's not like a dungeon crawler Carl. He's not one of these big, you know, hey, look at me, I'm the MC. He's subdued, and subdued is really hard to get right, especially for me, according to some of my critics. So to get subtlety and humor and heart right with this character, it actually took a lot more effort on my part than, you know, I'll admit sometimes I normally do. But I actually did some character work for this one. It's lucky you, TJ. Haha, you got me at 110%. I really did some research for him because he's a soldier, a career soldier, who's never led. He's not a leader, but he has the capacity to lead. But not because he necessarily wants to, you know, for glory, for vanity, for anything like that. He does it because he knows that if he doesn't, who will? And he knows he can trust himself to do the right thing because he wants to protect. He wants to safeguard those that he cares about. And that is why he doesn't, like, you know, completely collapse and give up when he's been pushed through his worst, because he does it for others. Now, he doesn't do anything for himself, really. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, he might, you know, it benefits him, but it's not why he does things. And so to get somebody like that, who's also, you know, best friends with a flashier personality, who's surrounded by flashier personalities, and to have him be the main character, and to get that sort of heart and humor, because he does have some, but to get the heart, it was really challenging. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of the best characters I've ever voiced. I am thoroughly convinced.
I've got to hop in here for just a second too and say that with Dan's work, I think what's really interesting about being partners with him is getting to see how he plays dynamics like that, like getting to see and hear his work with playing these, you know, more quiet alpha male types with these fun, quirky, or growing side characters that just shows a lot of emotional depth to both of those two characters, and I've seen him play that dynamic a number of times, and I love hearing it, and I think it's especially good in this. He's completely right.
Well, I know I'm really excited to continue. I was honestly really tempted as he was just explaining. I was like, I want to dive back into this book. I really want to dive back into this book. I contemplated it. So the way you were describing the dynamic between the two, the master and apprentice, was giving me, because I have not met the apprentice yet. It was giving me mild. Oh, either. Oh.
Well, because technically, finish your thought and then I'll go into mine.
Oh, I was
Giving you
gonna say,
mild.
I was getting like a Saitama and Genos like master and apprentice vibe from One Punch Man.
Not exactly, but that's actually, I'll say that like it's weird because he's both the master and he's also the apprentice. He's the master of Bodobert, but he's Leshra's apprentice technically. He learns techniques from her. They learn off each other. There's a lot of give and take. Like she has these amazing techniques, but you know, they're kind of flashy or they're kind of hard to really master for normal people. So it's a lot of. Sorry.
He's practical. He had to bring her down.
Exactly. He's
He's
practical.
like,
She's
studied for 174 years, and he's like, "We might be in trouble in a week. We need to train punches first." And she's like, "Ugh."
It's like she's a very big like she's anime. She's anime. She is the most anime character in this book. It's just like my technique has been cultivated and perfected, and it has 375 different steps. And he's like, "Darling, I just like to throw a punch. That's all you need, truly." And it's just it's a wonderful blend of it because they do learn off each other and they make each other better, and they just. It's all about balance and figuring that out. And little Bodobert's just trying to do his best. Like I can punch straight.
My favorite interaction in this entire book probably is when Leshra at one point is meeting this third level apprentice, Luca's apprentice, and she's not very pleased initially. And I think one of my favorite lines with regards to that is that there is a small creature who ends up being in this space with them, and she turns and she says, "As of right now, he's your direct superior, Bodobert." And I lost my mind.
I
He's
feel
the
like I'm
mascot.
gonna be cackling through this book.
He's the littlest mascot creature, and it's perfect. It's wonderful. I forgot about him. He's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could pull a Dave Wilmarth and make that your mascot, TJ. Make Randall your little
Randall's
plushy
very
mascot.
great.
I think it'd be a great idea.
If
He's
you make a plushie, I'll buy it. I'm not even kidding. I will buy it. I want to buy a Fibble plushie right now. Like I'm not kidding, because I Fibble's my boy. So if you have a
And
yeah,
I'll work on a plushie. Shit, I'll do it. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I will buy it. You let
Hey,
me know.
I did want to say something interesting about Bodobert's character. So Daniel noted that, right? So Luke is playing dual parts
Mhm.
of the master and student, whatever kind of role you want. Bodo, to me, I chose him to be the classic MC in cultivation. He's the young dumbass that we can't stop cringing at because he keeps making those errors. But then the big argument from the author's point of view is, guys, have you been 15? You are stupid. You make those mistakes. That's real. But you can't just sit through another book. So I'm like, dude, I'm going to have an MC who doesn't make those mistakes anymore, but he's going to pick up an apprentice and we're going to get those still because it's a cultivation book. So I just wanted to have fun with that dynamic.
It works.
There's no such thing as a perfect character like who is like, from the start of when we meet them to the end of the book where they don't make at least 4 dumb mistakes. I'm gonna say 4 mistakes because they're always gonna make one. But you have to have that magic number of 4. One per book, depending on how many books you're having, or 4 through the first book. I don't care which. But if we have the dumb mistakes and then, the learning experience from those mistakes, you have a main character that I'm going to enjoy.
And Luca makes them too. He's not immune either.
Right.
But his are just, his are more as an adult, when you're a kid making a mistake, or even a teenager at 15 making a mistake, versus when you're an adult making a mistake, the levels of it are just so different. Like he makes mistakes constantly, but they're all small little like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, or oh damn, I'm not good. Like in the first chapter, because this is something you've read, I loved this moment to humanize the main character. I think out of all the books I've done, no book has humanized their main character better than this book in the first chapter, because we see him getting ready for a conflict, taking in a young soldier to help go over his form and just calming him down, teaching him, you have to work for what you want, there is an easy way out, but there is no way to, guarantee that will, even get you the results you want. And then we see him go off to his tent, write a letter to his betrothed, and tear it up immediately after, because he's like, "What are you doing? What is this flowery language? How, you don't talk like this. Why are you trying to be something you're not?" And he writes a very simple, but still heartfelt message afterwards. And it's just little touches like that, little things to humanize the characters that are all throughout this book. It shows the little errors that we make from day to day in a fantastical setting.
I love
know?
seeing an MC too who has a real sense of real humility. It doesn't mean that he's constantly apologizing or constantly bowing and scraping. It's nothing like that. It's he can, he has this strength, this knowledge, this background, and yet in a moment where he realizes he's the one who screwed up or said something wrong or wasn't as thoughtful to what needed to happen as he could have been, he lives up to being a gentleman and a really solid person by apologizing or talking to that. I think of one of my favorite interactions as well with regards to Lestra. Like I said, she's batshit. She's nuts and fun and level 600 energy wise. But it's just when she has a moment at one point where she feels like he took it a bit too far in his teasing. He took it a bit too far in not giving her respect. She mentions that. She makes that a point, and he actually turns around and cuts out the teasing for a second and is real with her and is like, "Hey, you're right. You've given me a lot. I appreciate you." And I felt like for me too, as a female reading it, so therefore, the MC is different than I am in many ways, and I can appreciate him. I just liked getting to see that he was that stalwart and that truly humble. It was really nice.
And it's not coming from like a nice guy syndrome place.
No, yeah.
Like that's the thing that you can see sometimes in fantasy, because a lot of fantasies wish fulfillment, but it's coming from a place of genuine adult, growth and maturity.
And can I throw something in there too?
Yeah, you just wrote it. Why not?
Yes, the humility part, that part of Luca's character for me was because I like him because he's been broken and trodden over a lot, right? But he didn't ever set his flag down. He never gave in or handed in his cards. But he's really kind and generous to people because he knows that we're all sacks of flesh ready to die. He's seen a lot of people fucking die and scream and be pathetic. So why would you feel like cocky or awesome if it takes one spear thrust to make you shit yourself? That's humility, right? Like he's literally seen his friend probably shit himself on the battlefield because it's like having a body. It's not beautiful. But I really wanted to bring in the god awful aspect of war. Like there's glory in defending the sect. There's a lot of it's cultivation, dude. It's over the top, right? But then there's underneath it, there's lessons too that say, guess what? If you have conquest just to fill your purse, shit's gonna happen that's bad. That's not necessarily a good happy ending, right?
Right.
Like the initial conflict is because of greed. It's not because of we must defend ourselves. No. It's just, well, we're gonna raid some shit.
Well, we do actually have a question in the chat.
Yay!
Good old Zeckler, one of my favorite people, is
Hi,
asking,
Zeckler.
who inspired your MC?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a direct inspiration or?
I'm going to say this, but don't respond instantly with self-insert. It's myself, but it's me who I wish it's who I wish I could have been, like an alternate path or a different version of what happens to someone in that situation. So I admire who he could have been, and a little bit of my dad in there too, like the dad who I kind of wish. Ooh, I hope Dad doesn't see this. Whatever. Sometimes I wish he could step the fuck up a little, like Luca, whatever. So it was like this hopeful version of this, what happens when a guy gets beat the shit up, and then can he keep going? Can he not break? Yeah, he can do just fine. He just needs to be Luca.
All right. Well, we are, like I said, this isn't going to be like our typical show, so I feel like we've, topped on a lot of reasons on, hey, you should read this book. But we're gonna go into a little bit more of a, like, just what all is throughout this book. We have our action scenes, we have our character development. Oliver just jumped behind me. I have no idea what he's doing right now. So Cat's okay.
Gonna break something.
Do we have like any sort of like light romance, heartbreaking moments? Like, is there a little bit of something everywhere?
Everything. Like there's a little bit of fun flirty flirt time. If I may, just because I'm playing it a lot right now, there is another strong female character in this book, and their interactions, her and Lucas, remind me a lot of Dragon Age. Like a lot of that give and take conversation that really that honestly, like, it could feel like it could go anywhere, but it still feels natural, which, that's one of the best written series there. So I think that's a good comparison.
That makes me more excited to dive in. Like I know I'm not sleeping.
It's very fun.
Well, and the other women in this who aren't, some ethereal crazy goddess character, the other women in this are essentially, they come from a place. I'm trying to think of how to say this. I feel like I'm like Tom Holland trying to not show off all of Marvel. Okay, let's see. So essentially, there are women in this that, because of what their circumstances are at the moment, they don't really have anything left to lose, and so they're a little broken too from what they've gone through. But at the same time, I mean, the kind of main love interest, I would say, for Luca. The interactions, they're so pure and sweet and subtle, and you can.
Which is so hard to do.
It is. They're beautiful because of that, and I think there's an interesting. I remember reading the description for one of the women, for that particular woman, that love interest, and seeing that TJ had written like, oh, she's kind of quiet now, but she's got something inside of her, and I think you can absolutely feel that brimming in every moment of their interactions together, as there is this bond, this brokenness they've both gone through, but at the same time I feel like they are just like shaking right beneath the surface with so much life and potential and strength, and I just thought that was so cool. Every little tiny interaction between them is just filled with that.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna say, for the audio production part of it, if I wasn't working with Rebecca, I don't think that this book could have been made, because to be able to get that sort of, interaction and that sort of chemistry there, especially now with everything so distant, because she and I don't record together. We recorded this book completely independently of each other.
Oh, wow.
And, oh yeah, that's how we've done most of our books for what, Rebecca, the last 2 years?
2 years now. It's coming on the anniversary. 2 years.
Yeah. Wow. Bet you couldn't tell, did you?
No, because the chemistry you guys have, like, within the books and everything, like, it sounds like you guys are in a session together, like, doing this back and forth.
Well, we were.
Dan, we've made it.
We've made it. We've made it.
Holy shit.
Looks
like, I was
like
actually
we
going to
made
ask
it.
about that. So, Dan, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was our next, like, little section.
Yeah.
What? Oh, my.
Go ahead. Ask your question.
I was going to say, what's it like to work for you two to work together? Because you guys have done a lot of projects together.
So
As I
that's what it
listed
is.
off like 10 books in my library earlier.
She is a partner I trust, explicitly. Like, she is just fantastic, like, in all regards. I know that it's at that point now that we've worked together so much in person before the pandemic. It's still there. It's still strong. That chemistry is still strong, because we have a very similar style.
Okay.
In that we are actors who are narrating, not narrators who are acting. It's very much like an acting singer versus a singing actor. It's that, we understand that in order to tell the story properly, it needs that through line to the other person, to the partner. It's all about affecting the other person, even if they're miles away in goddamn Texas, Rebecca. We miss you here. Anyway, but
Texas.
I want to mention something too. I just heard this from Do you guys know who DJ Johnson is? He's on Facebook all the time. Super nice guy.
No,
He loves all the reading stuff.
I think I've seen like some of
I
his
think I
posts. and
have,
I
all
think
that.
I've seen
yeah.
his names.
He cussed me out today because he can't find enough Rebecca Woods books because now he's addicted to Leshra. Addicted, and he kept like all capsing that, and I'm like, dude, I gave you a credit for free. Fuck off, you know? And he's like, whatever, man. Like, he listened to it at like 1.5 speed at work, and I think he finished it in a day. You know, like because he does very long days. He's a special guy. Anyway, DJ loves your work, Rebecca.
There you go,
He said-
Rebecca.
Well, and you know, back when Dan and I did work in person, I think one of the things that I really loved that we've gotten to carry into the rest of our work now is I think we could both trust and relax that the other person was having fun with it, that the other person cared as much as we did. And wanted to flesh out this world and wanted to have fun and wanted to just this spirit of adventure and play that we both got to bring to it in person, that because we were able to do that with a fair number of books, Dan, before we went
About 20.
went solo, it meant that we got used to the cadences, we got used to acting choices or how slow moments felt versus fast moments, and I think that was something we were able to bring into recording separately.
And we also, Rebecca, if you remember, when we were working in person, we also, due to time constraints, we were working on Marcus Loss's Griff the Griffin Rider book. That was all recorded separately, except for the first 2 chapters, just because we couldn't make it work time-wise.
Our
So
schedules.
And that's a
when
long
we were-
series.
that's a long series, and we recorded all of that out, you know, away from each other. But the first few books, and the first book especially, we did have each other nearby, so we could like figure out like it was a good learning moment. So you know, it's not like we completely, you know, fucked off, the two of us, and we're like, oh, I guess we'll learn on the as we go.
Bye.
But,
So I actually-
but we worked out the kinks beforehand, so now we can do this, and we are golden.
So I do actually have a question. So when it comes to like omnibuses, because this has been like playing around in my mind.
Oh, sure.
Do you have to re-record everything, or do they just
No.
take the they just
No.
take the audio files and like throw them in?
Yeah, authors
Are
a lot of
you
the
kidding me?
time will add something new so that there is something that you haven't experienced before, whether it's maybe it's like a chapter before or something like that.
Well, I know
Sometimes
like
that'll
the like
happen.
mid credits between books, like you know, and now for
Yeah.
book 2 or etc.
Yeah. Sometimes we do. I hope that, you know, when Podium eventually releases the Towers of Acalia, you know, omnibus, I hope they do. I hope they don't make us re-record the entire series at the author's behest. That would be unfortunate.
I wouldn't.
I hope he doesn't, wherever Atlas Kane may be. I
Wherever
hope he-
that crazy bastard
wherever
is.
that crazy bastard holding up his fictional world, I hope he doesn't, you know, force that
That
upon
one's
us.
on my list, and I need to dive into it. Like,
It's so
real
good.
quickly.
It's so good.
Damn
I think
it.
it blends the like if you like Wyvern Academy too, also completely recorded independently. Honestly, the majority of our stuff has been recorded independently, and like
That-
a good third of our stuff is with either TJ or Atlas Kane. So
That actually shocks me that like I said, the chemistry you have, like, and I mean there's moments where I've just kind of like giggled like a school I'll fucking say I giggled like a schoolgirl, like during like just wholesome moments. I'm like,
right, you did.
I'm like, this
Yeah.
is cute as shit. Like I love those kind of moments. Like, and I listen to these like a majority like while I'm at work, so I'll be giggling on the chip aisle like a fucking idiot.
And
And
it's
people
just 'cause,
walk
like,
by and they're
also-
like, you good?
The chemistry is there also. It's so enhanced by the work because you know, it's just like because of those series, like it's very it has a cultivation series and heavily steeped in that sort of styling. You know, it's very similar to Towers and it's very similar to Wyvern, which we worked on for at least a year, those two, and still working on. Tower 6 coming out in the summer, hopefully. But the style was very similar and the heart was very much there as well. Like a lot of the same acting beats, like a lot of that sort of vulnerability, that raw vulnerability that you'll find in those two books, like it's there, it's here in First Fist, like right there. So we had those moments to work on, just, you know, at a lesser what's the word, less intensity.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say I was wrong real quick because I just looked at my Audible wish list. I do have Towers of Acalia on there, but that's not what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Savage Ascension. That's the complete series that I have. Also by
That's
Atlas
not
Games.
us.
That's what like, I was
That's not
picturing.
me.
Like I knew Towers of Acalia, but I was picturing the different like.
Who
cover.
is that? Who is that? That better
So
not
that's
be
where-
Christian. That better not be
He's a-
Christian Gillian. I
He's
swear
a nice
to God.
guy, too, you
I'm
son of a
just,
bitch.
I'm just
He's
Who
a
is
nice
it?
camera up real quick.
Who dare? Who narrates it? Who narrates
silver
it?
tongue competition.
Damn it! Now I'm
I'm
gonna have to
looking
get
at-
both of you in here and just let you guys duke it out.
I know, it'll be really
There
cool.
you
just
go.
because I'm unsure.
It
But
is
I believe
Christian.
It is.
It is Christian.
Son of a biscuit. That
And-
talented
and-
bastard.
Dan, I'm gonna have
And
to get
his-
you a shirt that just says I'm here
I'm not
because.
Christian Gillian.
Well, I was gonna say I'm here because someone else couldn't make it or something like that.
I'm here because Christian said no, and I want him to have a shirt that says I'm here because Dan said no.
Well, I gotta reach out to Christian because we do want to get him on the show at some point. Because
Oh, I'd love to meet up with him just because we work on so many similar authors. Like you, I know, yeah, you guys work together, and he seems like a great guy. He seems so chill. It's just funny because like
He looks a little like James Franco, guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
damn it.
I met him at Dragon Con, and I was like, "You look like James Franco, kind of." And he's like, "That's weird." And I'm
I'm
like,
so mad I can't go to Dragon Con this year. That's during our blackout week for work. They're like, that's a very important weekend. I was like, okay.
I will be drinking there, so if anyone wants to show up to Dragon Con and drink with me, that's
Joel-
what you do there.
Joel, my co-host, will be there as well. So I will make sure
I
you
would
and
have
him
liked
meet up.
to. This year I have a wedding, which is like around the same time. Cannot do it this year, but 2023, I'm definitely going.
Oh no, Joel
Yeah,
and I are
I
going to
know.
get a
It's like-
panel at 2023 Dragon Con.
No,
I'll go.
Oh,
That sounds amazing.
we like even if it's not a stats on stats panel, we just want to moderate it with like a bunch of the authors we've worked with, just so we can give them shit and like some of the like hardest questions we couldn't even come up with on the show.
It's fun.
Oh, we're
But-
gonna have a blast.
But yeah, back to the point. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the heart is very much there. There's a little of everything. And to your original question, the thing that I found that I really loved about this book that brought me back in again and again and made me enjoy working on it for the 2.5 months that I worked on it, which is unheard of in audiobook production, but it is worth it because it's very good. Was the heart and the just raw emotion, which is so nice to get in an audiobook because it makes it feel like you're working on something that's, bigger
Right.
in that sense. Like it's not to obviously not to poo audiobooks. I love it. It's what we do. But like it felt like it was just more like past my booth. Like I feel like this was just a bigger story to tell. And it felt really important to tell.
I think too, for anyone who has who wants to give this a try and hasn't read TJ's work before, I think that is something that does make him stand out quite well. Is the heart that he brings to his work.
Every
and you
work,
can tell it's
like-
it's genuine. You can tell everything is coming. Everything that everyone says feels very genuine, and I think that's a gift that he has in his writing. So if you're on the fence or haven't heard of him or want to try it out and are considering this particular book, I think you'll really, really be in for a treat for that reason alone.
It's
and if
ridiculous.
you
Like
want- oh, sorry, go.
I was just gonna say, it's ridiculous. Even your popcorn books like have it. It's like, have you ever eaten popcorn with feelings? That's hard. It's crazy.
Wait, we
It's-
can
it's
eat popcorn
insanity.
with feelings?
Like it's like that's what it's like. It's like have you ever had candy that made you care? It's like
There's
it's
candy that makes you care. We need
his books.
Okay. Well, I live in
Like, even
Colorado,
the-
so I think there is some candy that makes you care.
Nice.
Yeah,
I had
good
to-
one.
That's all I want
Good-
to say, TJ. Sorry, I had to compliment you.
No, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say you guys are great too. I really appreciate how much you guys both put into this. It's pretty crazy. Some narrators, absolutely no names named. You could just tell that someone kind of gets tired after a while, and I totally get it. Like, it feels like some parts of audiobooks kind of get down to a grind. And Daniel and Rebecca have crazy range. Everything feels fresh. Every scene doesn't like they're having fun reading my book. You can't really give me a bigger compliment. If they were bored as fuck during it, it would come through. and that would be a little hard, like a little cringe, like, oh shit, man, they hated that.
Which is it's a policy we kind of developed early on. Like we made it a point to be like, I don't know if you remember, Rebecca, but it was like there was like one. I think it was one of the Eric Voll books we worked on early on. But like we just looked at each other. It's like, okay, we have to have fun. We have to be able to have fun with these things, because if we don't, we will not be able to do our job. Because it's like it cannot come across as difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a scene that was kind of difficult for us, you know, because it was also one of our first. It was our first sex scene, and we went out to the bar afterwards.
We went out to the bar afterwards. We're like, shots.
We told it. Yeah, we told the story to R.C. Bray on his podcast too. It was.
So, I have to ask: is this the one you were? You said that you used under a pen name when?
Yes,
okay.
It was.
So
it was Kill the Power Gamer.
Yes. So I told my buddy about it at work. Who he's a vendor for a soda company. I won't say which one because there are 3 big ones. So I'll just leave it up to the guessing mind. And
RC Cola, got it.
I was like, so you know that book Kill the Power Gamer? And he's like, yeah, I love that one. I was like, yeah, my guest who was on, last night, he did that one. He was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, Dan, he does all these books. He goes, yeah. I was like, yeah, he did that one. He goes, holy shit, he did. He went back and he listened, and then he was actually listening to one of your books. I can't remember which one he was in at the moment. But he was listening I think he was listening to Battleborn, because I told him about that one.
Hey,
and
I thank God for that book every goddamn
so
day.
Damn good. And I bought the
reason
second
why
one.
I got good by
that.
doing that book. If I had to, Battleborn walked so First Fist could fist. But I'm sorry. No, it was a very important book to work on. I love working on Dave's stuff, and it helped prepare me immensely for this, because everything I brought to that, I brought to this, but I got better. Same for the sequel for his. And it's just, we're excited to see what he does next for his stuff too. But yeah. But Kill the Power Gamer was hard.
No, he was just like, oh wow, that really is Dan. And I was like, yeah, it was. I had the exact same reaction live on camera when he told me, because I wasn't even thinking, like, oh, that narrator sounds. And now that I've listened to a few other books, I was like, I want to say this this narrator's using a pen name right now, because I know that voice. I know that voice. So now I'm in this constant struggle of, okay, am I going to run into a pen name here? Am I going to run into one of my favorite narrators?
Pen names are all over the place in our genre.
Oh,
everybody's used at least one, right? Yeah.
It's all pretty slow, man.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one here without a pen name at this point.
Make one up.
I mean, well, yeah, I got my handle, but I don't know if I would ever use that if I was auditioning to be a narrator or a writer. I don't know if I would ever.
Hey, there's Shirtaloon Sibelius.
That's true.
Narrated by Rich Dolphus.
I'd read that fantasy book. I'd read it professionally.
We're gonna save that comment for after the show, because I do want to actually talk to you about something. So we'll go ahead and actually start wrapping up, because we're coming up on an hour, and I wanted this show to only be a half an hour, so we've already doubled it. So this turned into just a full Stats on Stats episode, and I'm 100% okay with it. Sorry Joel couldn't be here. He is currently passed out. He actually called me. He's like, hey, do I need to be on this episode? I was like, no, dude, you go to bed. You're good. He's good. So
He's good.
Zeckler also said in the comments, oh man, I have a ton of TJ Reynolds books. I bought a ton on the Audible Super Sale, Guildcore 1 through 3 and Eternal Online 1 through 3. I also picked those up. And I have not gotten to them yet, because so many other books. Oh my
That's
God.
Steve Campbell, right, on the narration? Am I right?
He did a great job with Guildcore, yeah.
Oh,
And then Ryan's actually Andrea Parsnow.
And we love Andrea here. Those are two
a legend.
people I need to reach out to, because, oh my God.
Yeah.
But now it comes to the fun question we ask all of our new guests. Daniel will get to reiterate his from the last episode. So we ask a fun little question of what is your favorite race and class combo in like a video game? It could be, you could pick from anything. So if you wanted to do like a class from D&D and mix it with a race from World of Warcraft, you could do that. Like for me, I go pretty basic. I'm a dwarf paladin, but if you give me a drow warlock, I'm going to have a damn good time. So, Daniel, we'll start with you.
Sir.
We'll give them time
Sure.
to think. And I
I'll
think
give
one
you
of the
my
cats
go-
let out.
My go-to. The cats. Oh no,
Yeah.
cat living.
No,
I
you're staying. Okay.
I feel that. I have a cat. I have a very fat cat.
I have one, and then my landlord has 3 others.
No.
Always fun. My go-to races, typically I have 3. Half elf for the stats and the angst that can happen with a bastard child. I have the dwarf because I am a dwarf at heart and I have a very stout, alcoholically induced heart.
We talked on that episode, or on the episode with you, because we got into a whole
Yes.
alcohol episode.
We did, and that's kind of why I brought the bottle with me as a recommendation from last episode. I couldn't think of anything. Mackenzie, it's a high rye bourbon that I'm obsessed with right now.
I get
So
paid
that is an
tomorrow, and I'm going to
excellent.
the liquor store, so I guess I'm picking up
Do it.
some
It's-
Mackenzie.
If you can find it, it's great. It's a Finger Lakes one. It's fantastic.
All right.
And then my current race I'm playing in D&D right now is a Hobgoblin, because I love that they added so many different monster races to D&D that you can play as, because it just allows for more depth and more character exploration, which is so much fun. And then my go-to classes, I really love melee and magic. So spell swords typically. Right now I'm playing as a fighter with a level in sorcery, or sorcerer. So that's always fun.
Matters.
Definitely.
That's why I do paladin, because I like to have a little bit of magic, but also I want to be up in your face beating the hell out of you.
Yeah, just
Literally
yeah,
as a
fireball,
paladin,
and then
because
slap.
holiness.
Smite the fuck out of people.
Oh, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Eh.
So, I will let you two pick between yourselves on who wants to go first. So either Rebecca or TJ.
Rebecca hasn't talked nearly as much as me, so I think she
Oh.
should talk.
So I am not gonna lie, I'm very new to gaming in general. I had the good old parents who don't like video games, so I am finally starting to kind of enter that world and explore. So I don't know as much about the D&D side of things yet. I say yet. I am learning more. However, I think I played a lot of when I finally kind of got to, I played a lot of online games, and I've started playing Skyrim a few years back, and I'm addicted. So the race I always go to, and I have no idea why, and I don't know why it's so hard for me to get away from picking this every time, is I always play an elf, preferably a wood elf, in anything ever. And I always try as I might to this time I'm going to pick magic, or this time I'm going to go up and do this. I almost always end up with a bow and arrow, staying back away from
course you do.
everything, doing
course you do.
headshots so that I don't have to go near anything and can just kill everybody from afar.
This is why we work well together, Rebecca. You shoot from a distance, I go and I smack the shit out of them. It's what
Well,
we do.
especially with something like Skyrim for me, I also have really come to love the two-handed. Like, I am not someone who can handle like a sword in each hand and figure that out. I just can't do it. Two-handed though, I've gotten pretty good. I've got some really nice battle axes and warhammers, and so I've been working on that.
You need the bound weapons spells in Skyrim, because those are lifesavers.
That sounds great. I'm gonna have to look into that more.
All right, TJ, it's up to you, man.
Oh yeah. So race wise, I think like Dragonkin's pretty rad. I like humanoid races a lot. And I like hybrid / chimera ones. So we were talking about Battleborn a lot. Ironically, there's this other book, Chimera King, written by some other crazy guy. It literally released almost the same time as Battleborn, and people were like, "Dude, did you steal that from Dave Wilmarth?" And I'm like, "Dear Lord, no, I did not do that."
I didn't know there was a Chimera
no.
King. I need to.
There's Chimera, and basically, I just like the Chimera, even Chimera classes. And I like hybrid systems; they're really fun. I haven't written a book that has like a pure system. It's always a mixture of 2 or 3. probably to my detriment. But even classes, same thing with like spell sword's pretty rad. But I was actually thinking about doing something like dexterity mage. I want to write in a new book, basically like rogue, but you're not like, it's not about stabby stab. It's more about like being mentally faster than your opponent, so you can. Yeah, it's like agility mage.
Oh,
So your stats aren't it's agility or dex, which I don't know. I want to play with that.
Well, here I'll give you the opportunity.
I'd read the hell out of that.
Yeah.
to play around with that because Joel and I are actually going to be hosting a D&D campaign for a special event, and we're going to
Cool.
invite some authors, we're going to invite some narrators, and they get to pick like some of the characters they've created, or the narrators can pick some of the characters they've loved to voice.
That's cool.
Ooh,
I wanted an
I'm down.
invitation like yesterday.
that
All right,
that
so
sounds
we have
fun.
3 out of our. I think we're going to do like a 10-party system.
Wow.
Jesus.
Epic.
Oh, it's going to be a big campaign because we're going to end up turning it into a battle royale at
That's
the
a
end.
lot of people.
Oh, it's going to be a battle royale
Oh
at the
shit!
end.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
It's all about the luck of the roll.
I
That's
need to
why
just
I'm-
pick somebody with the most magical dick. That's who I need to pick, and I'll be fine. Of the genres we've done, Rebecca.
I think there's a
We have
few
options.
you can pick. I
There's
think
a
there's a
couple.
few you can pick.
I need to pick a Logan Jacobs character. They never die. They're never in trouble, and they're just always perfect.
God.
Sorry, was that unintended? That was. Sorry. It's a joke. It was a joke.
You're just gonna fuck
Bad
everything to
Thundercat.
get out.
If it works.
If it works,
crazy.
it works. So
You either fuck up the enemy or fuck with the people you're with.
Or,
if you could
With
see
the
how
enemy,
red
who
my
knows?
face is now from like trying to hold back laughing, I apologize.
Oh, it's fine. It was a joke. I intended it. at
Oh, no,
least.
it's
no
worth
harm,
it. I
No
just
harm
don't-
meant. No insult. No insult meant either. It's
Oh, I
just
know.
a trope.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up here before Dan goes off the rails anymore.
Too late, brother.
Oh fuck. So where
The cease and desist email. Sorry.
So we can we usually have handles, but I did not have time to prep those handles because I didn't know if Joel was joining us or not. So TJ, where can people, find you?
Just Facebook.
Okay.
Check out Facebook. That's where all the RPG authors hang out. Or Reddit. I'm around Reddit on Lit RPG or Progression Fantasy subreddits. Just ping me. I'm down.
I probably send you a message later just to let you know, hey, here's where I'm at in the book because I'm loving it.
Nice.
Rebecca, where can people find you? Because we're gonna save Dan for last since he went first last time.
Absolutely. You can find me here on Discord, Rebecca L. Woods. L is in the letter. And honestly, I'm kind of in the middle of transitioning my platform on Instagram, but Instagram is the other main place to find me. And currently, the one that I access the most is Becca Peppermints with a Z at the end.
Love it. I love it.
Very.
I'm sad
Very
I
cute.
deactivated my Instagram now. All right, Dan, where can people find you?
Well, I'm currently curious. Is Discord a place people really hang out? I just use it for like D&D occasionally.
I mean, yeah, if any of my servers, if you ever see us in like the gaming
Shoot,
or
man.
waiting room chat, feel free to pop in and say hello.
Okay,
Like-
well, Rebecca, I'm gonna talk to you about like that because that sounds cool. But until
Yeah.
that happens, you can find me at Dan the Voice Man on Instagram, and also at Dan the Voice Man 3 because some jackass took my actual handle
It was me.
on Twitter. No, it was Daniel Lawson. I kid. He's not a jackass, or he might be. I don't know him. I just am annoyed. But that's where you can find me on Twitter. You can also find me on Facebook, and you can find me at my website at danielwisniewskiactor.com.
Not Wesniewski,
Damn.
right?
Not Wesniewski, not Wesniewski, not Woosniewski, not Wesniewski.
I'm curious,
Oh,
how
I
would
don't-
Sheldon Cooper pronounce your name? Because he pronounces Wheaton for Will Wheaton.
Quiznewski.
Okay.
Whiskey.
Even there's no H.
Just a
Quiznewski.
little quicker. Whiskey.
Just Quiznewski. Yes. It's just
So,
very quick.
and
Little sword sounds.
I'm the whiz and nobody beats me. That is how I feel about that. But yeah.
And for me, you can always find me at Rich Dolphus on Twitter, and then also the Stats on Stats page, which I'm not as active on. I've been busy these past few weeks. It has been a nightmare from day one of the year. So, like, I did, I want to say 52 hours of Lyft in 1 week last week.
Insanity.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm dead on my feet right now.
And with the gas prices being what they are.
We're getting a surplus, believe it or not. They're Lyft is
Oh.
like, hey, you're getting 55 cents extra per mile. I was like, oh, that's nice. Doesn't make up
Helpful.
for, but
The
Fix
$2.
everything.
I mean,
Doesn't-
gas
it's
out
something.
here is still under $4, so I'm not too upset about it. But there was a place where I serviced one of the stores here in Colorado that like gas would be like $2.60 something before this went, and now it's at $3.79. I was like, please stop, please. This is where I would always get my gas on Fridays.
That's
Please
enough
stop.
prices.
Well, not tell them. I don't know.
I know. So, but like I said, you can find me at Rich Dolphus on Twitter. I usually post hot takes or just retweet funny tweets. I've retweeted a few of Dan's because they actually made me chuckle at 4 o'clock in the morning.
good.
Your Caesar salad one was great.
Thank you.
I
I actually try sometimes.
Yeah, I was like, this tweet wins today. Like, no other tweet matters.
I don't usually I never used to use Twitter. I think it's the devil, but even the devil can be used usefully sometimes. I guess. I don't know.
Sounds like a few books I've listened to.
Yeah.
But for all things Lit RPG, Game Lit, Cultivation, Dungeon Core, this has been Stats on Stats, our first Silver Tongue. So if you haven't been convinced to purchase First Fist, please reach out because I would be more than happy to give you a few more reasons once I get deeper into the book. I'm only 55 minutes into the book, like I said, and I'm loving this series so far. I need more of it. So I'm not sleeping tonight. I've already decided I'm not sleeping. It's going to be a long day at work tomorrow, and it's going to be worth it because this book is like my main priority.
Honestly, my dude, it'll last you till tomorrow too.
Oh, I know. I
can
I
listen
plan
to it
on
in
being
your
done
sleep.
by Sunday. Which also
Nice.
Sunday, tune in for another episode of Boss Encounter where we bring on Christopher Johns, author of Axe Druid, High Tables, Hijinks, and Mephisto's Magic Online. Where
That's
I don't know
awesome.
which one we're exactly talking about. I think we're doing High Table Hijinks as our main focus because that series is just chef's kiss. I love it. So, but tune in on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time or ish. We'll say that because we might run a little bit of lateness because that seems to be a trend. On the Sunday the 3rd, if I'm getting my dates correctly. Yes.
It's next Sunday, yeah.
So, not the
Towers and tokens?
What's that?
Tokens and towers?
No, we're going to be doing another
No?
episode for Silver Tongue like this because I told Harmon today that I wanted to do that. Because we're going to obviously bring Dan and now Rebecca back on if we could schedule a date. We're going to do that, but we have J. Arthur Klein on, the author of Extra Credit, the Kobold Necromancer series, which we're really excited about. So we're doing like 3 episodes in a matter of like 2 weeks. I am going to be beat, but I'm also on vacation that week after, so I don't care. I'll be at Disney. I'll be having a good time. So, but we appreciate everyone tuning in. Please feel free to tune in for another episode. Check us out on podcast platforms, just Stats on Stats, a Lit RPG podcast. And we hope to hear from you soon. Tell us how we're doing. Let us know. We take feedback very seriously. So if there's an issue, you want to point it out, please let us know. But I hope everyone has a wonderful night, wonderful weekend, wonderful month, whatever time you're listening to this. Just have a wonderful time.